It's official. Foreigners are coming to Britain and milking the benefit system dry. Around 1.3 million foreigners are now claiming universal credit. This could amount to around £1 billion a month. The number of migrants on the benefit
told all the time, particularly by people on the left, that, you know, these people coming to work, they're contributing to our society. Actually, no, they are sucking resources from the British state at the expense of the British people. And it has to just stop. There has to just be a blanket, no benefits for migrants that come to Britain.
Hi guys, welcome to another video. Thank you very much. This next clip coming up is coming from GB News and Patrick Christie's. He's talking about how many foreigners are claiming on universal credit each month and how much it's costing each month and each year. It's costing £1 billion a month and £12 billion a year. A lot of the recipients have come on in the last 3 years since 2022, and 800,000 EU citizens are sitting on this. It works out just over 120,000 refugees who've been given refugee status are now claiming benefits. And also a lot of the people who came from Ukraine, Hong Kong and Afghanistan happen to be claiming this too. I mean, it's not an unfair question to ask. What is going on? You know, the taxpayers funding this. If you live in an area where you have had a saturation of people come in, you notice they're not working. I mean, I go out during the day around my area, which is Newham, London, and the amount of men, working age men and women, just walking the streets is astronomical. And during the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't like that. So have a listen to the video and the panel at the end. You'll hear that the lefty backs it up and says, oh, they should be entitled to it. I agree with the other two people on the panel. It needs to be cut. I think it's time for a lot of these people to go. If they're on benefits, it's time to go. But anyway, have a listen to the video and I'll get you at the end. Thanks a lot.
It's official. Foreigners are coming to Britain and milking the benefit system dry. Around 1.3 million foreigners are now claiming universal credit. This could amount to around £1 billion a month. The number of migrants on the benefit increased from 906,000 in June 2022 to a whopping 1.27 million in June this year. Some 738,000 of those migrants are unemployed, while 511,000 are in some kind of work but still receiving benefits somehow. Most of the migrants receiving the benefits are EU nationals, comprising 770,379 of those claims. So, just for a bit of context, right, this represents just under a 20% increase from 2022. It's a remarkable increase, isn't it? Now, non-EU nationals accounted for 492,502 of the universal credit claims, which, and this is the really astonishing figure here, that is up 87.6%. So let's break down who these non-EU nationals are. Now, apparently, we're not allowed to know exactly what countries they're all coming from. We wouldn't want to stoke racial tensions now, would we? But 211,000 of them have indefinite leave to remain. So just think about that. That's that then, isn't it? For some, it's just a lifetime on benefits in Britain. Why? Just shy of 120,000 of them are refugees. Now, bear in mind that we currently have somewhere in the region of 90,000 people waiting on an asylum waiting list. That figure is only going to go up, isn't it? Around 54,000 of them are on these humanitarian visas. So it's like Ukrainians and Afghans. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd be quite surprised if it turns out that a load of people from Hong Kong are included in that figure. But anyway, 75,267 are on time-limited visas. Can anyone make that make sense? So you're on a time-limited visa here in the UK and you're on universal credit. What are they doing here? I mean, can you guess what's fueled all of this? It was presented in the media like this was some kind of epiphany earlier on. Can you guess what's fueled it? Yes, it's a surge in asylum seekers being granted refugee status and record net migration, which peaked at 906,000 in the year to June 2023. As of March this year, nearly 1 in 6 universal credit payments went to a household with at least one foreign national on benefit. Let's just zoom out a little bit here. Just look at the bigger picture.
source of tax revenue working people pay, their income tax. Haven't increased taxes.
And ending the tax break. £1 billion of unfunded tax cuts. And so the tax break for
your taxes, right? This is where it's all going. So our very own Matt Goodwin tweeted this earlier. You give £1 billion for the French to not police our border, £6 billion housing subsidies for foreign-born people, £7 billion to resettle around 24,000 Afghans, which was, by the way, as we're going to talk about, in a secret scheme that we weren't allowed to know about, £12 billion a year on universal credit for foreigners, billions on migrant hotels and accommodation. You spend about another 140 million on translation services. The list goes on. Now, I'm just going to say it. Why on earth are any of these people here? This is why your taxes are going up. Let's get thoughts on my panel. We, of course, have writer and broadcaster Esther Cracky, former UK councillor for the Epping District Council, Jamie McIver, and journalist Jonathan Liss. Jamie, I'll start with you on this. The universal credit for foreigners in this country, do we just have to stop it?
Of course we do. It just has to stop. And that is the bottom line here. Because if you think about it logically, we are told all the time, particularly by people on the left, that, you know, these people coming to work, they're contributing to our society. Actually, no, they are sucking resources from the British state at the expense of the British people. And it has to just stop. There has to just be a blanket, no benefits for migrants that come to Britain.
Would you back that, Esther?
Well, I mean, how can we... The thing is, we've cheapened what it means to even be in this country, let alone British citizenship. The fact that many of these people are on indefinite leave to remain and can still... Why would they even get British citizenship? And the vast majority are from EU nationals that are probably... Like, I mean, there are only like 2 or 3 countries that have more generous benefits than ours do, but yet they have much stricter rules to actually getting those benefits. So really, they're getting a better deal than they would in their countries in the EU anyway. And so there's no incentive to not get the benefits, and there's no incentive to become a British citizen, because why would you bother if you can still be entitled to it? I mean, it's common sense. You can't go to Dubai as a worker and then claim benefits there if you're having a hard time. It's ludicrous.
Well, Jonathan, you know, that idea there that as of, I think, was it March this year or May, 1 in 6 universal credit claims are basically for a foreign person. I mean, that's unsustainable, isn't it?
Well, look, I mean, I don't know how many of those people have lived in Britain for most of their lives, for example. I mean, if we're going by sort of citizenship, you know, passports don't always tell you very much. Obviously, a lot of these people came here while Britain was in the EU, so they had equal rights to other British citizens in terms of accessing work, and they were able to stay here after Brexit as part of the negotiated settlement that the UK did with the EU.
Do you think we should carry on just paying their benefits?
I think that if you are here and you are able to contribute, and you have contributed, then you're entitled to certain rights.
That is absolutely
well.
insane. Absolutely insane.
Why is it
Honestly,
insane?
it's not only is it not sustainable. Does being British mean nothing now? So it's literally like a hotel. Just come and go as you please. So far as you sort out your residency status, like, you're fine. Have a couple of kids to shore up. Because
what does that mean?
Because you know that the Court of Human Rights is never going to kick you out once you have kids, especially kids that don't like spicy chicken nuggets. Apparently, that's how.
Not that
how
again. That's completely debunked. That ludicrous claim.
Britain is the best country in the world. To live here is a privilege. To use our state services, which are world class, despite them being heavily broken, as we know, we have got world class. Services for our citizens, and the fact that people do come. Well, I was just about to say residents, because actually you don't feel like they're the best. But what is wrong is that people, like you say, are coming to this country and it's straight away, here's my bank details. That's what it must be like. Who do I give my bank details
to? If we're supposed to buy the argument that they come here and they work and they contribute, then why are so many of them on universal credit? If that's the logic,
well,
this is why. Hold on.
That's because we have a low-wage economy and people are on benefits while they're working.
Stay in their own countries with
people work on benefits.
This is why in countries like the UAE, which again people don't want to compare, if the argument is these people are here to work and they're economically beneficial, they don't get benefits. It's really that simple. And
they don't pay tax either.
Hold on. People, again, it's ludicrous. Anyone who looks at the numbers, the actual proportion of people, this influx we're saying that actually come to work, which is less than a third of them, how many dependents they bring, how much of our public services that they use, it is as clear as day that they're taking more than they're putting into the system. Even British people, unless you're earning about £60,000, you are still taking more than you put into the system. So I don't know why we're pretending like they're a godsend. It's ludicrous.
Yeah. Is there any chance we might be able to bring up that Matt Goodwin tweet that I showed in the monologue there? Just because I think it's quite interesting, really, because Matt Goodwin lists a variety of...
salt.
Well, you say statistics with a pinch of salt. I mean,
Okay, what are your statistics?
I mean, every
Provide
single
your statistics.
every single one of those.
No, I'm happy to hear it. Like, I'm literally happy to hear an alternative.
Well, there we go. So look, I'm just going to rattle through this again, right? So this is the state of Britain at the minute, right? So £1 billion on UK / France deal there for them not doing anything about the small boats crisis. £6 billion on social housing for the foreign-born. £7 billion for the 24,000 Afghans. And we're going to come onto that later, by the way. That is absolutely ludicrous. We found out today that the government, successive governments, I must point out, are responsible for one of the largest scale cover-ups that I can see in modern British history, which basically involved importing a load of Afghans into Britain and then lying to you about it. Then we've got £12 billion a year on universal credit for non-UK nationals, £15 billion in accommodation for refugees and asylum seekers. I mean, that's before you've started on the cost that it must take to educate their kids and give them free healthcare and all of that stuff. Yeah, look, you look at that, Jonathan. I mean, why on earth are we about to pay more tax for that?
We don't think those Afghans should have been resettled in the UK after they worked for the British and their data was compromised.
Twofold. Largely, no. Secondly, I don't think we should have been lied about it.
I mean, that's probably the biggest scandal.
Look, there was a super injunction because those people.
We're going to talk about that next out. We're going to sorry.
The biggest scandal here is when you look at those data. I was in a council meeting today. We were told that we can't widen a motorway in Essex, which is going to cost £1.5 billion because there isn't any money, nothing in the coffers. And then you look at that data, you could have widened what? I mean, God, I didn't add it all up. How many motorways could have been widened?
I still keep going back to the winter fuel payments. £1.5 billion that was supposed to save. And yet you look at that list. The VAT on private schools, it's now costing us more to educate kids that were privately educated.
I do want to get Jonathan. Sorry, the only reason I cut you off about the super injunction is because we're doing that at 10 p.m. So I didn't want us to shoot our bolt early on that, as it were. But when it comes to that list of things that we are splashing the money around, and it's all for people who were not born here, who are just poncing off the state, right? I mean, are you willing to pay more tax for that?
Look, I'm not interested in where people have come from. I'm interested in what people are seeking to do here. And the majority of people are not here to claim benefits. They're here to contribute to our society.
So what about the ones that are?
And if they have the right to do that, then I think... And it's not... There's a complete myth, Patrick, that people are coming straight...
Go on.
Coming straight off the plane or the boat and going straight into benefits.
I can't even believe that's an option.
You carry on.
It sounds ridiculous, like coming off the boat. Are we seriously at this point? Like,
it's an expression.
This is indefensible. There is no... this is why I say, and I'm not saying you're a representation of the modern left, of course, you have your own opinions, but this is this is unjustifiable. There was a debate in Parliament about cutting benefits, which, of course, if we have to trim the public spending, fine. Anybody, regardless of where you are in British society, is looking at that and thinking, we've lost our blood.
Conceivably, we could have saved, which, again, people on the left are not willing to talk about. So those people on the left, of the Labour Party, which were consigned us all now to more tax misery, thanks to bullying Rachel Reeves into tears in the House of Commons, they were very reluctant to say that you could shave £1 billion a month off that welfare bill by stop giving universal credit to foreigners.
I think that the problem with that bill was that it was penalising disabled people and it was sort of seen to be targeting the most vulnerable people in society. Now, as with all of these things, Patrick, there sometimes is a middle ground. And is everything perfect with the benefit system? Of course not. Are there things that can be tweaked? Yes. And I kind of feel the problem is that we come on these programmes and I have to be in my left-wing silo and everyone else in their right-wing silo, and no one can agree, kind of make any kind of concessions
this isn't left or right.
to the other side.
I'm very left-wing on this issue. I think British resources should be for the British state, the people that are invested and actually paying into it. That was a staunchly left-wing argument 50 years ago, by the way.
I've never heard you argue for increased benefits on people.
I'm sorry, I don't believe we should be taking benefits from British people.
I've never heard you argue for increased benefits on people.
I'm not talking about increased benefits.
Well, you just said you have a very left-wing approach on this.
No, I'm saying we should not be spending £200 billion on foreigners in this country. That's not left or right wing, that's just common sense.
Just final words, Jimmy, on this, and then
Well, that's the scam, isn't it? You heard the figures, £1 billion a month, £12 billion a year. Most of these people are from the EU settlement scheme. You've got a whole load who are non-EU nationals sitting on this after receiving indefinite leave to remain. So they sit here for 5 years, maybe work a little low-level crappy job, and then go on to the benefits. And then the cycle starts. You start having loads of children, then you get disability claims, you get child benefit, housing benefit, this benefit, that benefit. Same as the Afghans coming in. I had a few living down my road. They treated the house that they was living in disgustingly, child after child. Still driving though, still getting deliveries. It's not sustainable. And this is the reason why they didn't want to cut it a few weeks ago. Because they know once they cut it, their little experiment will start falling apart. Because that's how it's been supported. The myth that a lot of these people are coming in to be a net contribution to the economy is starting to fall apart. And that's why you see the lefty's face is lost towards the end of the conversation, because every time he comes on the show, he's got an excuse for what's going on. I can only assume he lives in an area where he doesn't have to see it often, and it's just a little excursion to him when he goes into a vibrant part of London, and then he goes back to his little part of London where he doesn't have to worry about these people next door to him. He doesn't have to worry about his girlfriend or his sister going up to a shop past a gang of men, standing there drinking, not working, but somehow they got housing, somehow they got food, and they got money to drink. And we wonder why in Southport and Epping, these people are getting upset. We wonder why people in other towns and cities are getting upset. We wonder why people across Europe are getting upset. Because the same thing's going on in Germany and Spain and France and that. It's just that our benefit system is very cushy. It's not sustainable. And the lady on the panel did point out a good point. British citizenship doesn't mean anything anymore, because if someone can come in and get everything you can and more, and they're not even a British citizenship, have British citizenship, what's the point? If they can sit there and just take the tax money and there's no requirement on them, even to learn English, you can understand why no one's integrating. Why do you need to integrate if you're getting your food, your clothing, your kids get to go to school, you get to claim disability benefits so you can be driving a nice car, you could get interpreters, you still get your dental treatment, your health. It's good. Anyway, I'm not going to rant on anymore because I can go on forever. I hope to catch you in the next video, and thank you for watching again. I think that was a good part from GB News. People may knock them, but I've got to admit, when they get their figures, along with Matt Goodwin, great stuff. So anyway, I'll catch you in the next video, and thank you for watching again. See you later.